So gold, I spoke about on my last stream. If you watched that stream, I said how I thought you were going to trickle lower when you got to this, and you did. And I mentioned just to kill it off. Okay, I think actually it was Wednesday. No, it was Wednesday. I said short up there, and I shorted this as well. And the reason why is because you can see what's happening here. Okay, you're tentatively getting a fall because the impetus for long entries is dying on gold. Mostly because it's already seen an amazing, enormous upwards transition, various dips that people have bought long, gets to the point where there's saturation and you start to get a fall. So that's exactly where you are now. Now, I mentioned weaning off gold and I mentioned the weakness it has, and you can see that at the moment. These pushes really aren't doing much. You can use the early evidence to surmise what is going on, particularly in the market. Very small, light pushes and a lot of weakness. So really, to sum it up, I like to put my higher time frames up and just have a look what I can see below, and mainly starting off on your monthly gives you a really good idea. And it's just because the markets are generally ruled by higher time frames. Price will always move between higher time frames over time. And that's really what rules the general direction of markets. That's why you saw a fall from, let me just get the brush, a fall from there and there and there. If you look on your higher time frames, you can see very easily what that looks like. Okay, you can see these candle wicks taking you to the same area before you fall, and ultimately you get your all-time high because that long-term time frame that rules the market gets broken and you go higher up. So at the moment, what's happening, and alike on many indices, index markets, is you're falling to very early support, and that's why you're not crashing through like this. It takes time mostly for that demand to disappear and that demand to start to wane a bit. And the reason why is because you need market sentiment, so you need something to just appear in the news. You might get it today of NFP that says, wow, let's get rid of gold, let's short gold and buy the dollar. And the same for stock indexes. You know, if there's a problem with wages today, you might see fear in the sentiment in regards to stock markets, index markets around the world, and a fall. But if you've got the combination of early support and you've got lack of news, then you'll find you get these dawdles like this. And the short you've got, probably reflecting off that, where we called it short as well, just is going to take some time. So I wouldn't really consider buying until you get something around here for myself. You could get long earlier than that, but generally I cover a risk-averse approach when I'm on Tradingview, because it suits the mass market. And you can see clearly what you've got below is that level of support, and it's coming around those key MAs. I wouldn't be surprised if those key MAs start to make their way slightly higher in line with price rejection you've seen here, and support you can also see there. Okay, and I think that'll form the basis for re-longs, maybe hedge longs for some of you who've got further shorts. You're still working out. If you are, you should probably be finished with them, I would probably say now. But in short, I don't think you're going to hold up particularly for gold. I think you're going to see a change in direction. I think it's going to take a minute unless you can get some stronger news. Now, I'm not saying to short it right now. If you go back to your daily, yes, it looks weak like this, but you've already got somewhat of a fall. I would probably consider shorting if you get slightly higher as a repush. And the reason for that is, we're not interested in FOMO. Yes, we think it looks weak. Yes, we think it may fall further over time, but we need a profit margin. You always need profit margins to make money trading. And the only way you get that is on a rise. If you're going to short anything, you practically always need a rise in price to get any market value or get margin on the trade. If you're shorting at the bottom, it's naturally going to be very difficult to get market value to the short side, because you're going to be selling into what would be support. Okay, like you saw here, there would have been people who shorted on this green candle, or these ones here. Okay, would have shorted where I've just drawn that line. In fact, I tell you what, we'll get rid of these Gosh, it does do this. You've got to be very careful where you click on TradingView, because one slip of the button can cause mayhem like that. But anyhow, if you shorted where you should have been lightly buying, you would get, stopped if you use a stop loss. But generally, you're looking for things like this so you can re-short. I think the whole thing you can see here is just overall very weak as a push. And that's why I called it short all the way down, because every push is weak. Look at that. That's a very weak push. So you've got to say to yourself, all right, if this was still strong, if there was very strong bias and the sentiment for buying gold was there enormously, it probably looked like that, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be two measly candles followed by a fall. And I think ultimately for that reason, you've got waning demand on gold, and I think you'll end up slightly lower, like I said. And that will provide the basis for further long entries should you intend to take them. If you're a risk-averse trader, a lot of guys who follow me may be buying earlier, or people in my academy. But if you are risk-averse and you're looking for a re-entry, you've got so much price rejection all along to the left-hand side that I would just consider holding off till you get to those key MAs. Ultimately, you may see it lower. Anything up near here, you've seen it fall once. You know that there is rejection in the market there. Again, you need to be a detective in the markets and just understand that you can see right there, that is where people are killing their orders to the long side and looking short. And that is why I called this short as well, because you're getting into that area again and you've had that fall. So that's gold for you, and I do believe that should help very well. Just going to